you're in position one, you're going to get 25% of the traffickers. Hey, Tim.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Morning or afternoon?
Afternoon for me. I'm not sure what it is for you.
It's morning here in Vegas.
We're in West Virginia.
I see. And you're in Clarksburg?
Yes, we have an office in Clarksburg and Morgantown. Clarksburg is about an hour and 45 minutes south of Pittsburgh.
Cool. I was in Morgantown a couple months ago. I spoke at WVU.
Did you really?
Yeah.
At their business college?
We had a conference teaching all these professors how to do social media and digital marketing. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they do have, I guess all colleges do now, but they do have some integrated marketing type of degree. Maybe it's a master's degree. I can't remember. Did you fly into Pittsburgh and drive down to Morgantown, or did you fly into Clarksburg and go up to Morgantown?
I came in I was speaking at another conference in Canada, like Vancouver or something. So I had to fly into Pittsburgh, and then it was like an hour or something. It's kind of a long way. Yeah, Clarksburg Morgantown wasn't really near anything, I thought.
It's not. Yeah, Morgantown's about an hour or so south of Pittsburgh, and Clarksburg is about another 40 minutes south of Morgantown. Yeah. We have offices in both places.
Yeah, I see both of them that are showing up.
Yeah.
We had a little report.
Okay, good. My wife, Susan, is the business manager here, and invited her to be on if she had any interest. So she clearly You're muted, honey.
Sorry.
And Jason.
Jason, the marketing director.
Awesome. Well, good stuff. Well, we are recording this for your benefit and our team's benefit. And normally we would have one of our account managers run this, but he is stuck in the airport somewhere on his way coming in for a meeting. So you get me.
Oh, great. That's not a bad thing.
Well, it depends. I'm like the head emergency room surgeon. So like if I'm here, that means there's usually a problem. So you typically don't want to see me. If you see me involved in the projects, that means something went wrong.
I hope that's not the case here, but
no. There's always good things. I'm sure Mr. Jason will appreciate all this. Yeah, this is the thing we did in Morgantown recently. And it was about creating a bunch of social media jobs. And there's a whole speech recording if you want to see it. But you have me here anyway, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's great.
So I appreciate you coming to the Pilma Mastermind.
Oh, sure.
Ken's been a client for a while. He's an awesome client. And he's let us showcase all the stuff that we've done for him, which is great because there's a lot of things that were broken on his site that we're able to fix and demonstrate. And I wanted to show you some of the things that we saw for you across your two locations, if that sounds good for you.
Yes.
And more importantly than that, I'll show you what these things are, show you how to fix them. And then a lot of these Jason can fix. And if you have other people on your marketing team, they can just go ahead and fix them as well. Pretty easy. The whole goal is to rank better, to look better in Google's eyes, get more leads, traffic, all the PI related terms in West Virginia. Right. Before we get started, is there anything in particular that you guys wanted to address or any particular questions?
I don't think so. We do want to, our primary office where we started is in Clarksburg.
Yeah.
But that's a smaller, and we do TV advertising. And so we're a regional firm, which includes Morgantown, but believe it or not, Morgantown from the TV perspective, if you know anything about TV, is in the Pittsburgh DMA. And so we opened a second office in Morgantown a few years ago. And that's, if you want to call it a growth area in West Virginia, which isn't growing as much as other places in the country, but if there is a growth area in our region, part of our region, it's Morgantown because they have the university system, they have two hospital systems, and that's a market that I really want to break into more effectively, as well as continue to do well where we are now and do better, because Morgantown is where there's a lot of college students, a lot of professionals, and so there's a lot of law firms up there too that we compete with, more so than what's down here. So
yeah, and especially with all the traffic, the tourists that are coming in for the games, the growth that's there, the hospitals there, obviously the good relationships between PI and medical. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I ran two of them, but we can look at one of them, for example, and there's a few factors that we look at. I like to start by looking at just the base data and can the search engines find you? So a lot of people call this listings, or they call it NAP, which is name, address, and phone. And when you look at the different directories, they all share data between each other. And they're not as smart as you might think they are. So a lot of the data that will show up in Google or, Foursquare, Instagram is sourced from other directories that kind of feed each other, kind of like the way they sell data. It can be, the driver's license data, registration data. You can see here social media data. And so when your name, address, and phone are not exactly the same, it makes it more difficult to match. And the cool thing is that this is a super easy fix. Basically, you can either come in and claim these listings manually and update them, or you can use a service like a Yext, and it's like $10 a month, $20 a month. And that always keeps these things up to date. And there's a whole bunch of ones like that don't really matter as much anymore, but it's still good to have. Like, why not? Right.
Right.
And these kinds of signals used to be way more important. They're not as important today as they were like 5 or 6 years ago, because social signals and all the stuff Google is pulling is more based on the data that they can collect and less on third-party directories like Yellow Pages kind of data. But either way, this is good to look at. So your listings are decent. It's not like you have to be in every single directory, but the main ones you want to have, like even Miley Legal Group versus the Miley Legal Group, or not having the address, or with and without, dashes, like these, you would think they're the same, but they're actually not the same. Like STE versus Suite technically is not the same. Yeah. Have you guys seen this before? Like a listings audit?
I have it. Jason, have you?
Yeah. So it's easy, right? You either manually go with, like, the best is to manually go and claim all of these and update them. But I think it's just fine to pay for a Yext or any of these other, pay for citations through a White Spark or whoever, right? But those are the two ways to go do it.
Okay.
Then from an SEO standpoint, I think we were looking at this a few days ago.
Right.
It's surprising that you don't have, and by the way, you can use SEMrush, Majestic, Ahrefs, whatever your favorite is. I'm on the boards of several of these companies anyway. And they all will share similar for auditing, like what we're doing here. I happen to like to use Ahrefs, but there's lots of tools, and we can argue, if you guys ever want to. Some people really, they bring their SEO team, the bigger firms, they want to come in and argue different things. Like, that's fine. We'll use whichever set of data you want, right? But here you don't have a ton of juice from this many links, but you're ranking on a lot of keywords, which is good. So it means these links are not as high quality, but they're more relevant, which allows you to rank on these 7,200 terms, right? Or depending if we go across the whole domain, 8,000 some terms. So
that number in the abstract is a good number, or is it a good number compared to like being almost 50% or a little over 50% of the number of backlinks?
Well, I mean, all else equal, we want to have more backlinks of higher quality for a higher domain rank that gives us more keywords. We want everything to be as high as possible. Right. But that being said, whoever's doing your SEO is doing a pretty decent job, because these are the terms that you're ranking on in position one, whether you're doing this intentionally or not. And this is approximately, because so, right? Like medical malpractice settlement calculator, 300 people a month searching that, you have 138. That's not bad. But you have only 2 SERP features on that. If this is confusing, just let me know if I'm using any jargon or anything like that, right?
No.
So it's good that you're ranking on these terms. A lot of these terms are $20 a click, so that's saving you money. Of course, I recommend running ads anyway on these terms.
Excuse me.
But like here, someone asked this question, which maybe is not as valuable. How long after the car accident can you file a claim? Because you have a URL about that, an article about that here. You can see this right over here.
Right. Yes.
You're getting some people, a few visits a day, but you only have one SERP feature. So if we do, you want to rank on, these are all kind of low competitive, like 12, 5, 7, but let's say West Virginia car accident, something like that, car accident attorney, something like that. What do you want?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So of course there's the LSA, local search ads, above the regular ads, tons of ads.
And that would be local to what?
This is going to be local based on the explicit search term.
Okay.
So I said West Virginia, or it can be an implied search. So if I just do a search for personal injury attorney from where I am, it's going to know that I'm in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Just like if I do a search for pizza and I'm traveling and I'm in LA visiting my mom, then it's going to pull up LA because it knows where I am, right?
Okay.
So now it's showing me a different set because it knows that I'm here in Vegas. And in fact, this is where I live right here. So it's showing me all these other guys that are near where I am, right? These guys. So this changes because it's using the implied location versus the explicit location.
Okay.
Google's smart like that, right?
So the local service ads we just saw come up when you search West Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good for those firms to come up when you're searching the entire state.
Yeah. Well, we want to beat them, obviously.
Right.
We want to beat them in every area. We want to beat them in LSA. We want to beat them in the regular ads. We want to beat them in the 3-pack map results. We want to beat them in all these other versions of search. So, there's PAA, there's images, there's video, there's the Twitter carousel, like Morgan and Morgan. Oh boy. And there's all the other kinds of terms that we want to show up on, right?
Okay.
So the beauty of PAA is that because of all these things that we rank on, most of them, as you can see here, you have 1s, 2s, and 3s. And usually when I see 1s, 2s, and 3s, that means you're missing out on ranking on rich media. Usually it means you're missing video. Well, here you have an image, but you're missing video. So you could have a featured video. You could have a YouTube video. You could take any kind of content where let's say, Tim, you're answering these different questions because you're great on video. I've watched a bunch of your videos. You tell great stories, by the way. You should be pushing that out more. So you have all these questions, but if you just answered them, and this is kind of what we were starting to go into in the mastermind, making little 1-minute videos about this, like, here, let me tell you, Tim Miley here, let me tell you about how this calculator works for wrongful death. What you're going to do is put in this information and, obviously it's a horrific situation but you want to try to do the best you can and make things right and blah, blah, blah. Like whatever you might say, right? I'm not an attorney.
Right.
You say whatever you'd say, and then this would give us more SERP features. So it's not enough just to say you rank in position 6. We want to have as many SERP features as possible. So for all your top terms, I'd love to see 6 and 7 SERP features. Does that make sense?
It does.
So this is just, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's not hard. It's not hard. You just basically have to make a series of 1-minute videos. And even I got, Ken Hardison making these videos. Ali Awad has made hundreds of videos based on my coaching from the last few years. And so now he's the social media guy.
Right.
Ethan Ostroff is a client, right? He's the TikTok lawyer. He's making TikToks and other things according to what we teach, which is not a secret. It's not hard to do. It's that we just want to show up more on these other terms. And if there's another term that you care more about, like motorcycle injury, then let's figure out what we need to do. Well, motorcycle foot injury. All right. Well, there's not that many people. That's super low keyword difficulty.
Yeah.
You have something on motorcycle foot injury, but maybe motorcycle injury is a little bit better, right?
Right.
Maybe instead of just, dog bite settlement calculator, maybe it's something like other things related to dog bite attorney, dog bite, all the dog bite related terms. So it's just a matter of looking at your analytics and saying, and you tell me like what kind of cases do you want more of, or you want just more general PI, car accident cases. And then let's see how that affects your SEO. And then let's log into your GMB and then see what your GMB analytics show, right? Because in your GMB analytics, we see 3 actions: calls, website visits, and maps and directions, right?
Right.
And then we see that inside your Google Analytics. And then that's tied to, what do you have on the back end? Let's see, like a HubSpot or Salesforce. What do you have? Cat. Okay. Ridiculous. Oh, you have Infusionsoft.
Yeah.
So do we. We've been using Infusionsoft for 12 years. Clayton Mask is a good friend of mine before he even started it. And all this WordPress stuff, which is great. Call Rail. Oh, awesome. Yeah. So then you would see it in your Infusionsoft. If you pass through the UTM parameters, if you have what we call digital plumbing setup, which is tying your Google Analytics, all the different pixels that you have from Google and Facebook and Twitter and whatever, and sticking it inside a Google Tag Manager container, which seems a little technical, but something I think you guys are. Oh, actually, no, you do have Google Tag Manager. Okay, good. But you just want to get all your pixels inside here. Everything, right? All tags should be run by Tag Manager, right? You know what I'm talking about, right, Jason? Okay.
Jason,
Not
do
a
you set
surprise.
that up or do their website people?
Website people.
And Infusionsoft, we don't use Infusionsoft anymore, I didn't think.
We don't. There's probably
No.
still coding for some of the forms that are on. It's on there, but our forms feed into Law Ruler.
Okay.
Yeah, we have Infusionsoft. We used to use it.
Yeah, there's probably some legacy like coding on there from.
Where we originally had a website.
Yeah.
We originally started out with Infusionsoft. We still pay for Infusionsoft, but we don't use Infusionsoft except
No,
for.
that's super common.
I know.
mean, look at how many. I mean, anyone who's on WordPress, you're gonna have this kind of thing, right? And this is super common. It's not necessarily bad, but you have tons of these plugins, right? And you just got to decide like which of them you need to keep using or not, right?
And I figure most, like our web provider, probably has some fear of deleting or removing them, not knowing exactly what's attached to them.
Exactly. Yeah. But then even if it's just keeping it there for the sake of it, a lot of these plugins, they get outdated. They have security risks, all that kind of stuff, right? Not like you should be afraid of getting hacked, but it happens a lot. So provided that we have the data in place so we can associate everything together, which just helps us in rankings because it gives us more citations that are tied under the same entity, which is what they're called. You have two entities. Then those reviews are going to be tied to those entities as well. So you have a bunch of great reviews, but your review velocity is low. So a lot of people think, like a lot of PIs will tell us like, well, how come, we have way more reviews than the other guys, but how come we're not ranking in the maps? Is it because they're doing some SEO magic, or because they have a stronger site, or because they're closer to the city center when people are searching on Pittsburgh, PI or whatever? But the thing is that Google cares more about the review velocity in the last 3 months or 6 months, as they're saying here.
Well, what does that mean, review or for velocity?
Review velocity is like how many you've had. So you could have had 200 reviews years ago, but velocity is like every 3 months. Like how many of you had in the last 3 months?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So we want to see a steady accumulation. Otherwise, it could be a business that did really well years ago, but then handed it down to their son, and maybe they're not taking care of it as much, or what. It's not like fresher reviews are worth more. But if you have just 200 reviews all in the last week, then that looks suspicious. So they're trying to look at it at like a nice, normal looking trend of legitimate looking reviews, right?
Okay.
So it's saying that we've only had one review in the last 6 months.
I think this is on one. This is just for Clarksburg.
That would make sense for Clarksburg because it's per month. Right there, it says reviews found per month, and we're pushing our reviews right now to Morgantown.
So we should be
per month,
alternating
yeah.
them probably then, Jason.
We should.
But you
Yeah.
should have more than that. Like one per month is kind of low.
Okay.
If you're just starting out, okay, fine. But you guys are better than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we've been pushing them out of Morgantown.
Yeah.
And we can, look at the other one, and that's fine too. Social media, not bad on Facebook. Of course, I would love to boost more posts if you guys are already doing that, or running lead ads. I love lead ads, especially on TikTok, because the Facebook lead ads, what you find working there, you can run on TikTok. And we have the best-selling book in social media on Amazon, and it's on TikTok ads. And it features a lot of lawyers and what they're doing with lead ads on TikTok, which is just repurposing the same things that work on Facebook lead ads. And you have the content, you have the video to do that, even though you don't have don't have a lot of videos. Your featured videos, 6 years ago, still a great video. These ones, we can repurpose the heck out of a lot of these. And then you're down here, Tim. West Virginia delegate Tim Miley. All right.
Yeah, I was in politics in a prior life.
That's cool. And you were an insurance adjuster or something like that too?
No. I used to work as a lawyer for insurance companies.
Oh, for insurance companies. Okay. I didn't, because I got the sense like you were on the other side and now you're the PI. Okay.
Hey, real quick, Tim, that Bikers Against Child Abuse want to set up on Sunday with us at that bike thing. Is that okay with you?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
So not that it matters, but we can also get you verified here on YouTube. It's not the same as a Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter verification. But
Okay.
we have some inside friends at YouTube that can do this pretty easily. The verification, which is the check mark, only matters if people are seeing your videos and if you're commenting. So if you're not getting a lot of views, then there's no point in having a check mark.
Okay.
But if you want it, we can get it. And these, I believe, should all be repurposed into articles. These should be embedded in blog posts And I think my memory might be bad. Let me see how many pages you have. Oh, actually, this is more than I thought. Yeah, so you have 438 pages according to Google, which I would love to see 1,000. But this is actually not bad compared to other PI. Most personal injury firms are like 100, maybe 200. So it's like anything you say, any video, any piece of social media content, mostly. Oh, look, Miley's not spelled correctly, is it? Is it?
It's a
M
capital I.
What's this one?
But it shouldn't be. Should be a small I.
Lowercase I, right?
Yeah.
You see these two?
Yeah.
So Google, we were asking Google, okay, so using the site colon,
Or
search
there's
what
a bunch of them that have our Miley with its capital I.
Why are you doing that? Is that like some trick?
It must be some automatic thing that they must be doing because that's the metadata.
Yeah. And the other thing too with things like titles and tags is that when you're starting out, you're going to say Miley Legal Group, then West Virginia Personal Injury Attorneys, because you're trying to get your name out there and maybe people are bidding on your name. But once, you dominate on your name as you should be, and then you probably want to switch these and you say West Virginia Personal Injury Lawyers, Pipe, or colon, Miley Legal Group.
Okay.
A lot of these things that, with SEOs, like whatever's on the homepage, whatever's higher on the page, whatever is closer in the title tag is going to carry more power because it's a signal that we're sending to Google, right? In the same way, of these 400 pages, this is what Google is approximately telling us are the most powerful pages in order. So we just want to consider where we want to distribute juice. Of course, the majority of the pages are going to be off of the blog because that's the easiest way to put a lot of content there. Because you could also you basically have 2 city pages, but we put out more, or 2 locations. We could do tons of city pages, tons of things by the category that we're serving, by event, all these different ways we want to look at this. What is this one? We'll go wrong tab. We had too many tabs that are open. So let's take a look at your links. This is my favorite part. So have you guys have hired an SEO or somebody to help you?
Yeah, we have our it's Zillametrics.
Who's that?
Zilla, Zilla metrics.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of them. There's a lot of people. San Diego.io. Huh? That's interesting. Zillametrics. We're another metrics company. Oh, look, they're only a DR16 and they rank on nothing anyway.
That's not a good sign, is it?
It's like it's the skinny cook or the fat weight loss coach or whatever you want to say. But I actually don't think it's that bad because we coach 2,000 agencies. And these agencies, they specialize in websites and SEO or social media. And when we look at the social media of a social media agency, they're normally terrible. So, and then, of course, if you ask them, their answer is, well, we're so busy serving our clients that we never, did it for ourselves. Like, okay, got it.
Right.
So I get that. But the point is, like, this still is not a good look for anyone who actually does SEO. Like, you kind of going to look at this and say, okay, what's going on here? Anyway, but let's see. What was I was showing you? Oh yeah, your links. So this is ordered by estimated traffic per month. And this one on cashautosalvage.com seems like it's pretty relevant. It's an in-body text in this article. And this page itself, not your site, this page ranks on 358 keywords because the domain has quite a bit of traffic and it's got a medium amount of power, like a mid-sized publication is a 38. And it's driving you some traffic off of this. Not 1,200, but of the 1,200, you might get a few clicks. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going by order of the page traffic, but we can order it by the DR. We can order it by, when we first saw the link. And you have these directory type listings. Cornell, that's nice. That's a do follow. I've been to Cornell a few times. Well, let's see. The timeless 2 wheels. Let's see. According to Miley Legal. So somehow you were getting these links. This was 2 years ago, but I think if we sort by the domain rating, which is one of many things that we could look at, you have these weird things again. And usually when there's SEO companies involved, they don't admit to it or they'll claim that it's not happening, but there's a bunch of garbagey links that they maybe didn't know they were buying, or they hired a third party who hired another third party who created these fake sites. sewasson.blogspot.com. defending yourself when you receive a demand letter. Okay, well, linking to this one, or funny voicemail messages, or actually these ones don't look like necessarily bad. They don't look as bad because at least it's topical, right?
But if it's not providing us any value,
I mean, it may or may not necessarily hurt you. Some people who are really strict about SEO will say, we're going to disavow all of these. Well, maybe not. You don't necessarily need to, right? So if we can just look at this one, car insurance claim Manoto, like that's clearly generated for SEO, that no real human is going to do this, right? So if we look at these ones, car insurance claims, this is clearly auto-generated stuff, right? No human is writing blog posts about this. But to be fair, whoever's doing your SEO on this, or these guys, Zillametrics, these, like the topics of this blog is actually around car insurance. Like, okay, well, that's legitimate enough. I mean, just the thing has, it has zero power. So I kind of wonder like whether this is even worth anything. Maybe your SEO person, if we show them this, and this is recorded, so you can show this to them, they may tell you, well, it's creating more signals. It's another citation. It's another link. And we need to have, even low authority links don't necessarily, they can still help us. Like, oh, okay, I'll buy that. And they'll say, yeah, we rank on a lot of keywords, and you do, but it's because you have a lot of these, you have a ridiculous amount of these. And I get why they're doing it. You see, these are all Blogspot. Blogspot is Google's free blogging platform, right? So right. I'm not super thrilled when it does. So if Zillametrics, if you're watching this, I know, yes, the Blogspot auto-generated stuff does work, and it is part of Google stacking because you are using Google properties to try to rank on Google and all that. But some of this stuff looks a little, non-human. And the latest update that Google announced for all the people in the SEO world that got rocked, no one else except people in the SEO world really care about this. They release what they call the helpful updates. So anyone who's doing this, what you're seeing here. So look at this, I can't even say this, crazy, lazy, mazy, Latasha Low, this weird Korean thing, Care Bear pictures to print in color, food, Boca Raton, best ordinary products for acne Reddit. Okay, and then this stuff is linking to you, including wedding makeup artists and Jeep Wrangler truck lifted Anima Krista prayer cart. So your links are in here. And yes, it's working, kind of. I don't think it's going to last. I think that because of the latest update Google announced last week, called the helpful content update, which is the exact opposite. It's helpful for the user, but it's not very helpful for the SEO people, because it means any of this stuff, Google straight up said, can't argue this. Anyone generating garbage like this is going to get penalized. And you have a ton of it. Look at this one. Zalila Faya. Why would they be linking to you? So let me just ask you. So there's this garbage stuff, right? You see all these garbage things. This has nothing to do with anything. Why would this guy be linking to you and then linking to this computer training classes, power tools, Angelo self-storage, Google AdWords?
This is ridiculous.
Canada's oldest microbrewer brings seasonal to Ontario. This is just, there's software that auto generates these blogs on Blogspot. I get it. The SEO people will say, we drive results and this is what works. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It currently works, but it's not going to last. And my job, and the reason I'm telling you this, because I built the analytics at Yahoo 20 some years ago. That's basically when I retired. And my job was to manage a team of engineers that would spot nonsense like this, because we wanted to keep the search results good. And all these SEO people, as sneaky and clever as they thought they were tricking us. And we absolutely saw this, but it took time to roll out these programs to try to keep our search results fresh. And a lot of the people on my team went to go work at Google. And then a few years after that, Google IPO'd, and some of my friends made a lot of money, and I didn't, because I was still at Yahoo. And I only made a little bit of money when I left Yahoo. But it's funny that these things still work. And we've known about this for a long time. But look, do you want to be associated with free puppies in Morgantown and other stuff like this? Transcendence quotes, when it rains, look like rainbow quotes like this. This is one now it's redirecting to plus manga. Okay, well, I mean, I guess technically it's got Morgantown in there. So the most popular employment searches are, okay. Just take a look at this. Do you think a human wrote this?
No.
What do you think of this?
That's crap.
It's total garbage, isn't it?
Yeah.
But your SEO is built on this. All these links, you can't argue. This is not a matter of opinion. Now, your SEO person might say, oh, but SEO, we have all these proprietary techniques that we can't tell you about because it's a trade secret, SEO is so tricky because the algorithms change all the time. And yeah, how about all this? Photo wealth system web 179100 blogspot. Car inspection Philadelphia cost. Well, someone's paying for auto-generated blog posts here. I mean, it looks kind of like it's good enough that it can kind of fool a machine, but it's garbage. Okay. Like any human can see that this is garbage. Okay. This is what they're all on Blogspot. See what to do if you receive a letter, lawyer with a false claim, whatever, and it links to your thing here. Right. And some of them could be unintentional where people are the robots that are auto-generating these blogs are pulling stuff, images. A lot of these are image links, but some of them, they look like your SEO. Like if I was Google and I was looking through all this, I would think that someone is trying to trick me. Yeah. The best office chair for degenerative disc disease. Okay. These are all garbage links. These are all, oh no, now it's trying to spam me. Okay. Well,
so should we go in and start disavowing these?
You asked that question in the webinar, right?
I think I did.
Yeah. I don't think so yet. I'm kind of one of those, like, if we think Google's onto us, then we'll say something because Google will start to show warnings inside your search console. What I'd rather do is have so many high powered links that, see which ones are ranking on more keywords. I'd rather just get more high powered links. So that way they don't really care about those garbage links. And what I was showing in the webinar is we control a lot of high powered sites. And for our clients, we would love to take articles that are basically videos where you answer all the questions that are based on, you understand, like in the webinar I was saying, take your most common questions and all the PAA related to that and just make a bunch of 1-minute videos. Do that. We'll turn them into real articles and then we put them on real websites. And then we set up a media room on your site so we can link all these items together. It's legit SEO. Anyone who looks at this will say it's completely white hat. There's no manipulation. It's exactly the way it should be done. It still abides by Google stacking where we're showing it, embedded the YouTube video that we put in the blog post that we redistribute through, through other Google News sites and that kind of thing. Okay. Like here's one of my friends who, oh, not this one. Where is it? This one. This is one of my friends who is a immigration attorney in New Haven. And I recorded a webinar because he just wouldn't make any videos because of his English, because whatever. So I just asked him a series of questions that were related to his law practice and what it means to get a green card and why he loves being an American. And what is, what if you want, I asked him a series of these questions about immigration and how he's the president of the Yale law something, right? So I'm just asking him all these questions, right? And he's giving his answers. And then we just turn these into articles and distribute these articles. There's so many ways to do it. Of course, I prefer the cell phone, the selfie style video, because then we can use that on social media, right?
Right. Now, so I'm just curious, that gentleman right there, when you were interviewing him, did you ask him questions and ask him to answer those questions in such a way that they were 1-minute answers? Yes, but sometimes some lawyers can get kind of wordy, right? I get it. But that's fine. If it's a 3-minute answer, that's fine too, right? Right. Because we can still turn it into an article. And that's what if I got to show you guys, we use tools like Descript to transcribe it. And then we edit the video in a certain way. And so we basically take the video, edit it in Descript, chop it up into different pieces, push it out. There's an article, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, like all these different sorts. We repurpose that content into lots of different pieces. And you can do this yourself. It's not like you need our team to sit and interview you, Tim, and ask you these different questions, because all we basically do is come in and ask all these PAA questions, right? You remember like what I was showing, like here's this question. So, okay, well, if people ask for this question, then they ask this question. So then pretty soon there's all these other questions. So Google already is telling us what you need to make your little 1-minute videos on. Right.
So you just do this. And then all of a sudden, the number of index pages you have 400 some, of which like 300 some actually count. Now, all of a sudden, we do this for like an hour a week or an hour a month. And in an hour, you can probably answer 30 of these questions. Just sit here and start answering these questions. Pretend like somebody's asking you, because they are, because Google's telling you this is what people are asking, right? So just go ahead and answer it. Well, is West Virginia a tort state? Good question. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. What happens in, what is the negligence law in West Virginia? Well, blah, 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 blah. I'm Tim Miley. Contact me. Love to help you, right?
Right.
You just answer each of the, it's not like you need us, but for some reason, a lot of these personal injury attorneys, they just, I don't know, they just want us to ask them the questions, or maybe it feels ridiculous answering these questions yourself on video. I mean, I don't care. Just make the freaking video and then we can process it, right? Or you can hire your own VA to process it. We don't even have to process it.
Right.
And that's the key to doing real SEO. That's legit, not a magic secret kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the PAA. I like starting to.
I don't understand why people don't, I don't want to get on my like soapbox, but a lot of these people that do SEO or whatever, they would rather rely upon these tricks where you buy links from someone else, because a lot of the agencies, they're good at selling, but the actual delivery, the fulfillment of doing the SEO, they just buy random stuff on Fiverr or outsource to these big shops in India where they just do whatever, like the stuff that you see, auto-generating this kind of stuff. And it does work. So they get kind of lazy and they'll keep their answer every time is, oh, yeah, it still works though. Like, okay, but I've seen this for over 20 years. It'll work and then it won't work. And because Google's getting more and more sophisticated in what they're doing. So I guarantee you this nonsense is not going to work in a year or two.
Right.
I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it's 3 years, but it's not going to last. Never does. Then the spam gets more sophisticated, but you're still spamming. I'd rather not even spam in the first place.
Right.
Because you already have enough, like just from your reviews of customers and just from the videos that you have, I know that if you do it right from the SEO standpoint, you're going to lick the social media and the SEO challenge at the same time, because that's how you're going to win on social media, is creating a bunch of these little things, answering these questions that we turn into TikToks. And you don't have to dance at all, Tim, right? You just answer the questions.
Right.
That's it. You're the expert. You answer the questions. Now, maybe sometimes you're walking around outside. Maybe you are, in the background, we can see that big stadium in Morgantown. Or maybe, you're in front of a restaurant, or maybe like whatever it is. It's just as you're walking around, and maybe you're not as professional looking, because the ones on YouTube, you have the tie and it looks like, it's like a lawyer you're talking to, right? Because people under 40 want to see someone they can relate to, not some like big lawyer. We're really tough. We fight the insurance company so you can win. Like, some people will like that.
Right.
I think the personal thing will be great, especially when you're interviewing clients, and you could do the cheesy, presenting them with the settlement check and showing how they're VIP all the way through, and you take care of everything, and they don't pay unless you win, and you could do all that stuff too. But I think the humanity is where you make yourself look like a good friend, where you're answering these questions like, oh, well, how is pain and suffering calculated? And maybe you're at the dinner table and like, well, hey, good question. Let me tell you how this works, right? Let me tell you what the process is. Well, first we got to make sure we go to the chiropractor, and we have to have continuous coverage. And the reason why is because, typically here's the more damage you have, or the more whatever, the more bigger the settlement is, and blah, blah, blah. You explain to them how this works, just like a friend, right? Just like through FaceTime at Starbucks or whatever, right? And you just have a lot of stuff like that is almost intentionally unprofessional, but that's what's working right now. For people who are under 40, they kind of want that. They care about this authentic. They keep saying, these kids, I'm 48. Anyone under 48, they want this authentic thing. So the commercials, they're good for people who are over 40.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's why Ali Awad, who's our client, is so good on social media, because he's appealing to these people. And I don't think you're going to outspend Morgan & Morgan.
No, unfortunately.
So let's not beat them, because this is like $40 a click. So you'll just bleed trying to compete with them. But we can beat them in all these other areas, because people are going to ask, is West Virginia a PIP state? I don't even know what that means, right? I'm sure you do.
I do. And the answer is no, it's not a PIP state.
Okay, well, but there's a lot of people asking for it, and who's answering this, right?
Well, it can't hurt to answer So these questions, is West Virginia a PIP state? Would you tie that? I mean, would you just answer the question, or would you somehow tie it into an injury case? I mean, I guess you'd tie it in as much as you can, right?
Yeah, you can. So that's a good question you ask. So we're not just answering questions willy-nilly. That doesn't make any sense. We're thinking about things as topics. So let's say that, think of this pyramid. And at the top of the pyramid, we have, personal injury attorney or West Virginia car accident, or the things that are really important, very competitive, right?
Right.
And then we go level down into questions that are kind of related to that, the motorcycle foot injury calculator, whatever, right? And then we go down even further into things that are related to insurance and what happens, if the police pull you over, here are things that you should not say, or, those, they're not related to car accidents, but still related to the law, still related to, what happens if you get in trouble, or, this kind of thing. Or, interviewing friends of yours that are chiropractors, and your favorite restaurant and how you like to go there on Friday. And, you and Susan really like to order lasagna, whatever it might be. That has nothing to do directly with generating more cases. But when we have this pyramid all the way down, these articles will link up to the next tier, and then will link up to the more important terms. So all of these are passing juice all the way up.
Okay.
Right. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes.
Yeah. And so the people that do it in an unethical way for SEO, it's called the link laundering layer. So they buy a bunch of garbage links, or they have all these garbage links like you see on Blogger, and then they link from these Blogger garbage things to some mid-tier term, or maybe all the way to your money page, trying to push all this juice to whatever your top page is. And that does kind of work. That's what the porn sites do, right? The porn sites will go to a university and say, hey, they're going to, of course, create this fake entity called the Concerned Mothers of West Virginia, or the official association of students who want to get a scholarship of something. I don't know, something that sounds official looking, okay? And put an official looking website and say, hey, we're giving out $500 scholarships. And all you got to do is apply here. And they get the university, the Career Center as an example, to link to this site saying, hey, everybody go here and apply for a $500 scholarship. And then they actually give out the scholarships. And when the whole thing's done, like 6 months later, they put all these, so because they got an edu link, or they got a link from whatever, then they link from there to the porn site, right? Or from that site, they link to another site, and that intermediate site then links to their porn site, or whatever site they want. So, because who's going to link to a porn site, right?
Right.
So this is the same kind of thing. You have tons of garbage here, fun some night videos, xylophones, Obama nips Romney at the White House. This has nothing to do with it, right? But this is the same kind of thing. This is like a garbage link laundering layer, where they're just trying to push a bunch of links. That's why you have so many links, as you can clearly, there's no hiding this. Like you can't argue that's a fat person stepping on a scale and trying to argue that gravity didn't work today. Like, I can clearly see what you have going on here. Okay.
Right.
And they'll say, yeah, but look at all the keywords we rank on. Like, yeah, okay. But we can do it legitimately without having to do these tricks.
Right.
And the thing is, you would never know as a personal injury attorney. You're just, because the SEO person, they're really good at SEO, and you're good at personal injury, and you do your thing and I do my thing, and we're each expert in our own thing, and we trust each other, right?
Right.
Because how the heck would you know? Like, you bring your car to the mechanic and they tell you need your blinker fluid is low. So like, okay, yeah, you need to refill my blinker fluid. Right?
Well, let me ask this question.
Yeah.
Aside from a lot of the sites you have that are highly ranked or have high value, how does a person get a backlink if, number one, they're doing a 1-minute video, it's transcribed into a blog on their site? It's not likely to have a lot of deep, substantive, meaningful information that would be linked to a law review article or just something that would have a lot of juice to it. I wouldn't think.
No, you're right. You're right. A 1-minute video is something that is mainly for social sharing that we can run ads to. So people can see your face and kind of get your vibe, because, 90% of communication is nonverbal, and people will just choose the person who they feel like they've seen their face, they kind of know. And it's not even like, the expert knowledge. I understand what you're saying. Like, well, if the knowledge isn't expert enough, how can that turn into an article? well, we're not necessarily turning all those into articles. We're using a lot of social stuff, and we can combine different videos that you have into an article, and then we'll turn around and write these featured articles. So here I told you that this is my New Haven attorney, and this is an article that we wrote based on what we know about him. And you can see like it's legitimate, right? He became a citizen at 16, came to the US, and of course it links to him, law offices of Sung Ho Huang and New Haven, and all these accolades, and there's some really good stuff that's taken from this interview. And you can see it's not bad, right?
Right.
And he's on my show, and we're linking to his social media. And so we do this, but we do a lot of these featured articles. So this is another one, Elliot Drake, and here's what he's done. And it goes through his career, and he started this company, and here's what he does. And so we have tons of these that we have a team of writers that will write bios, that will repurpose your content, link back to interviews that you've done, whatnot, law journal stuff. It doesn't have to be like, trying to get as many articles in law journals, as many citations, right? That's more like an academic thing. That doesn't really help consumers,
Right.
But
well, and I was just
article.
using the law review as an example, but a magazine article or any of these other places that have a lot of backlink juice, how would you get into those places?
Well, a lot of them are Google News syndicates. So let's see. Let me come here and do press release. We've got a whole bunch of these ones. I think I got it. Let's see. Signal. PR status change. I'll look at one of these ones. Okay. PR status change. I'll do another one. Got one I'll do one of these ones. No, that's not the one I want. PR status. I think it's one. Okay. Let's see. So we take these things, turn them into articles, and then you can see there's a whole process to get these things published. And then let's see. PR status change. Is this one. See one that's actually been published. Where's the links to this one? Published. They just changed the interface. Before they didn't have it. So I can find this thing. Here we go. This is what happens when you build software. These things, the software constantly needs fixing. Where's the freaking link to this thing? I could swear I just saw it. Well, anyway, if I can get this thing to work, I just looked at 3 of them this morning. It's been published, approved, awaiting publication. All right. One of these ones, I'm going to show you this one. Here it is. Okay. They're working on the system so all the links show up. The other one just showed like the status, and I got mad at them saying, I want to see the links. Okay. Okay. So what happens is when we get an article written, we want to distribute that to all these other legitimate places. So these are legitimate. This is a Fox syndicate, right?
Right.
And actually, this is only DR24. Let's look at one that's higher than that. Let's go down, see what else. It gets distributed to all these different places. What's this one? I'll just pick on one of these randomly. This one, look, 59, right?
Right.
TikTok videos. Oh, according to TikTok, and I've got all the stuff about TikTok. And I could tell this came from one of our webinars because we were auditing this company that does therapy for autistic children. And they literally are they're actually using my words. This wasn't transcribed very well, but it's an article here, right? It's a press release on a legit site. And so you can see there's tons of these, and it probably costs us like $50 to get one of these out across all these sites. But this one article got distributed many different ways. And this one was shown correctly. Oh, it also was picked up on Twitter. Guess what? Yeah, I guess we tweeted it too. We have a team of VAs. All this is being done by a team of VAs. So every article we have, we turn into a press release. Tim Miley shares the 3 things you need to do when you get in a car accident. Turns into an article, and then we distribute through all these sites. So the reason why this works with SEO is because these are all Google News syndicated sites, and they're all high domain ratings. They all have power. It's not some blogspot garbage sort of thing, right? And now this is not Fox News globally. These are all like local syndicates, but these are all actual media. So this is creating real signals. You see a difference between what that other company is doing for SEO versus what we're doing.
Right.
Ours may cost a little bit more, take a little bit more time, takes a little bit more effort, but it's legit.
Right.
You can see this TikTok and the opening hook thing, all these articles, they're all distributing this article, which is
Same article, just pulling from different places.
Yeah. And so we're using what's technically called a press release. But most people, when they think of a press release, it's like, oh, Tim Miley opens a third location in West Virginia, or, so-and-so, Susan got promoted to some, like, that's what people think of press releases. But we think of anything where you're sharing knowledge as a press release.
Okay.
So it could be, Tim Miley shares 3 things you need to know about insurance coverage. And that's the press release. But it's taking what you've said here and then turning it into the third person. So it could even be like this thing, Merry Christmas, Carol. So then to turn it into the third person is Miley Legal Group wishes everyone a Merry Christmas, creates Carol to turn it into news. Miley Legal Group creates Christmas Carol to wish everyone in West Virginia a Merry Christmas. Like that's how we would turn it into do you see how everything can be turned into a press release? Because it's written as an article. It's written as like an objective journal thing. Like, here, this is great. 3 things not to do after a motorcycle accident. I would turn that into an article in a press release.
Okay.
It's not hard to do. It just needs to be done.
Right. Right.
So we have an army of VAs, then that's what they do. And they're in, I think you saw, they're in Pakistan, they're in the Philippines, and they're, I'll show you like this one. This is our group. We've got 20,000 people in this group. And these people are all, coming and commenting and learning. And this guy made a post while he's driving. And, they're all of these people are learning how to do what we're talking about here to get certified. This guy is teaching how to do Google Ads. He's one of the best. If you do a search on Learn Google Ads, he's number 1 in Google. Go imagine that, right? We're teaching these people how to get on Fiverr. We're teaching them how to do. We're helping all of our international friends learn how to do the stuff so they can service you, right? Okay. And they make $500 a month, which is great for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We use a couple of VAs on medical records review, but interesting for this stuff.
Yeah. So we're extending what the typical idea of a VA would be. Because I'm a VA. I'm the world's highest paid VA.
Okay.
I'm probably one of the best known VAs in the world too.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. So on some of the things you pointed out on our website, now on the Morgantown site, same things there too, I guess?
Same things.
Or the Morgantown office. I'm saying website.
Well, yeah, because it's all part of the same site. So the Morgantown office has a different set of reviews and slightly different signals because of Morgantown related terms, but they inherit off of the main domain. And because of things that are going on the main domain, if we can make the main domain more powerful, then both locations are going to do better. But certainly there's a lot more we can do with location pages by taking neighborhood cities, and that's a completely legitimate SEO tactic. By you creating more content around things that are in Morgantown, that would be a great SEO tactic. That would also be, whatever we're doing for SEO is also social media at the same time. So I use them interchangeably. We're not doing anything for Facebook or anything for Google. We're just creating content. And then by repurposing it in a slightly different way, it makes Google and Facebook and TikTok and Twitter happy at the same time.
Okay.
So,
because I like when you talked about Google stacking in that webinar.
So Google stacking is when you're trying to feed Google as many Google-like things, because Google will prefer Google stuff. So you have a Gmail account, you make sure that on your site you embed Google Maps, you embed YouTube videos, you have blog posts that are on Blogspot, as you saw, that link back to your articles. I said you embed the YouTube, like all these, you're trying to use, Google, all these, you link to Google search queries, right? You're trying to say, look, I'm clean. I'm very clean. I love Google. I'm not trying to spam you at all. If you do too much of that, then it looks like you are trying to trick Google, as you can see.
Okay. We don't have Gmail for our firm email address, but maybe we'll switch.
I think it's minor for where you are.
Okay. So,
but simply making these videos and posting them to your YouTube channel, and then embedding that YouTube into each of these articles, and then us distributing those using our press release system and the thing I was showing you, which will be better and better. Like, give it another month or two, it'll be better and better. That will help a lot with SEO. Probably take 2 months or so for you to see some significant impact on that.
And I guess and Jason, feel free to speak up and ask anything you want, but I guess one of the things that my fear is, which is why we've kind of turned it over to the SEO experts, I mean, like, I guess everyone does, is two things. Number one, not knowing what to do in terms of being spoon-fed. Okay, step 1, 2, 3, 4 through step 100. I mean, given the roadmap, so to speak, of what to do. Number two, the other issue and fear is how much time is that going to take versus the time I need to practice law. Now, to be clear, I have other lawyers in my office that do a lot of the legal work,
Right.
and I have a reduced caseload because I'm more into managing and overseeing. But the question would be, A, the roadmap of what to do and how to do it, have someone spoon feed it to you and hold you accountable. And number two, the time it's going to take to do all of that. So,
yeah, that is probably the most common question we get asked.
Yeah,
because lawyers want to be lawyers, and they're doing marketing just because it's necessary, and there's a lot of vendors out there, and they got to know what's going on and that kind of thing. So let me answer both of those questions. One, if you have VAs that are doing all this processing in the same way that they're processing, medical claims or intake or whatever, then all you need to do is spend an hour a month just answering those 1-minute videos, right? Just 1-minute videos about whatever, right? If you want to make more, great. But all you have to do is make the 1-minute videos, because then this thing we call the content engine, we have a package on this. We'll do it for you. And it shows the whole process. Like, we'll tell you, here are the videos that you need to make in a certain way. Our team will do all the processing for you for $1,000 a month, including all the press releases. Now, whatever you spend on the ads is what you spend on the ads, right? That's what you pay to Google and Facebook and these other guys.
Right.
But the beauty is that when you have this content factory, then you have, let me show you this. So you see this one here, the purple, this first stage.
Right.
This is all you have to do. And you can get your other attorneys to do some of this too. We just need, you just produce the content. Then these other 3 stages, we will process it. We will transcribe it. We'll turn it into articles. We'll add in images. We'll add links to it. We'll chop it up and reformat it so it can live on social media, live on your site. We're going to set up a media room so that all these things can be aggregated. And then we'll set up $1-a-day ads so that it can be seen. So when you, like, your Twitter is there, but there's nothing going on Twitter because you're not boosting to, you can boost to just Morgantown or all of West Virginia or wherever you want to boost to, right? And that way people see you. It's like a billboard, but better, right?
Okay.
All these social media billboards. So you do this first part because that's what makes the most sense for your time, because you're managing a law practice and you have attorneys and you still have to, look at the overall flow as a business owner. The leads are coming in enough cases, but these other 3, you shouldn't do yourself, but you should know enough to be dangerous. You should know what happens here. Otherwise, if you have these other agencies that are managing your website or doing SEO or running ads, or what, you have no way of auditing what's actually going on.
Right.
And you'll just have to trust, well, like your question, like, how do I know what to do? Well, we have all the training on that specifies exactly what to do. And all our VAs are certified, and you could have your own VAs. My hope is that you would hire, you already have a couple of VAs doing medical processing claims. You would hire a couple of VAs that are just doing this, and they're $500 a month. So let's say, okay, maybe you start out with us, and then some of the ones that are working on your stuff, you like them so much, you hire them, and they now become part of your team. And you're paying them, let's say you have 2 of them and they're making $500 a month. So now you have 2 full-time VAs from Pakistan and the Philippines, and it's costing you another $1,000 a month.
So that's your business model in terms of employing all these people around the country. Is we start with we start with having your firm or your business do this through those VAs, and then ultimately cutting the cord and letting us sink or swim on our own with those VAs.
Our whole thing is creating jobs. And we have to provide this intermediate kind of dating training wheels phase to get everything working. Even though these folks are trained and they've gone through our stuff and gotten certified through the different courses that we have, it still requires some coordination, right? It does.
Okay.
Some process stuff. So we have all this training here. We're teaching $1-a-day. We're teaching how to make 1-minute videos. We're teaching how to edit videos. There's all this stuff that we have, right?
Right.
And so people are learning. All this stuff is here, right? And this is creating jobs. And our whole mission is to create these jobs.
Okay. I like that. And again, as long as there's like a path that's set out for us to follow.
Yeah.
And then they would even go in and maybe disavow some of those backlinks if necessary.
We could do that for the ones that are egregious, but you have so many low quality. They're like, these no-see-em kind of mosquitoes, these little gnats. I don't, those ones, there's like 1,000 of them and you accidentally swallow a few when you're walking,
Right.
I mean, some people who are really strict, like I was saying, they want to disavow all of them just because they're so afraid that Google's going to penalize them. Like, okay, just let's round up all 9,000 crap links and disavow them all. Like we could, and we could have a VA do that if you want. I just, based on what I see, I don't think it's necessary yet, but I could be wrong. Maybe we get penalized later. We can always disavow later.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
but disavow is not the answer for your real issue is you're not producing quality content, not that you need to disavow the garbage.
Right. So would we be better off telling our current SEO folks, stop with the backlinks if they're going to be this bad? At least stop that bleeding.
Well, first off, ask them in a innocent way. I'm just a personal injury attorney. I don't really know anything about SEO, but I've been watching YouTube videos and whatnot. And I saw that we have a bunch of these kind of low quality Blogspot auto-generated sorts of links. Do you think that might hurt us at all? Or is that helping us? Or what do you think about that strategy? Given, I heard Google has this thing called the helpful content update. Are you guys worried about that at all? And see what they have to say based on that. Now, if they're honest and if they're knowledgeable, I'm not saying they're trying to cheat you.
Right.
But if they're honest and knowledgeable, they could be, they could be honest, but not knowledgeable. But if they're honest and knowledgeable, they'll tell you that strategy is not going to work. We need to change things significantly. And then you say, okay, great. Well, what are we going to do? Right. I'm just a lawyer. You guys are the SEO company. What should we do? Right. What do you need me to do? And what are you going to do? Just so I know, right? I'm a passenger in the car, but let me know, where are we going? How's this going to work? What's happening next? Like the questions you just asked.
Right.
And see what their answer is.
Sounds like we may not
give you a good answer.
Yeah. Sounds like we may not even need them.
You don't need them at all. It's all garbage.
Yeah.
Actually, there is one thing. So you have a few links that are actually worthwhile. Some of those links could be, I don't know, I'd have to look a little more carefully. Some of those links could be paid for, as in rented. So sometimes if you leave an SEO agency, they're paying monthly to rent. So built into the retainer, they're, maybe you're paying $2,000 a month and maybe $500 is for renting. I don't know how much renting or buying they're doing. They're probably, when I see stuff like this, there's a high likelihood they're renting.
Yeah.
Or buying or rent, whatever they're paying for links. Okay. So if you leave them, you might ask, you'd say, if we were to leave, how many of these links are going to disappear because you guys paid for them? Whether you bought them or you rented them, or you would remove them because they were part of a private link network or some other kind of thing where you had to pay for these links, how many would we lose? Yeah. And if they say nothing at all, then we'll say, okay, great. So they're all legit. Awesome. See you. Okay. Because they're not building new links except the garbage links, which we can see because we can see the date of the links when they were created.
I noticed that. Yeah. I noticed that over there.
Yeah. There's no way to hide. I mean, it's just my sense in auditing hundreds of PI firms is that none of them have ever used any of these SEO tools. So if I was an SEO agency, I could just say whatever and no one would know. I could tell you the moon's made of blue cheese that you wouldn't know. Right? So, but with these tools, these tools, whichever your favorite tool is, Majestic, Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz, whatever, all these tools make it impossible to hide now. But the lawyers don't know that they're all these tools.
Right. Okay.
So I'd say have a conversation and probably they're going to either tell you that they don't know or they're going to say something that is kind of wishy-washy or they'll have to get back to you. But more than likely, they're not doing any value. More than likely, 2 or 3 years ago, they bought a bunch of links just to get things going as part of a setup and onboarding. And then they did nothing after that because they could just collect the money from that because the links that they created or bought or auto-generated were enough that they can just ride on that forever and continue to, it's kind of like, there's nothing dishonest necessarily with doing a whole bunch of work in the beginning and then not much after that. We view it as financing because imagine if the SEO company said, it's going to be 20 grand. They're like, what? 20 grand? Okay. It's only $1,000 a month. Oh, okay. So it's financing, right?
Right. Makes sense. Yeah. One final question.
We're completely transparent. Ours is month to month. We show you exactly what we do. You can use the SEO tools that we use and audit and see what we're doing.
Okay.
Not that you have time for that, but if you wanted to, you could.
Yeah.
And if you had some other person who's good at SEO, they could come in and look too and say, yep, that's absolutely legit.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Quick question that I've asked some others. It seems to me that the value of websites generally and all the content to be produced on them is going to be waning and moving more towards these social media videos
Absolutely.
and landing pages. Is that what you see?
Yeah. Well, think about it this way. There's you know how there's like the big fish that swallows the medium fish that's eating the smaller fish?
Yeah.
So TV, newspaper, radio, billboard, like that was where it was 50 years ago. And then things started to move into digital, which is websites. And then that started to move into social.
Right.
So the reason Google grew is because it was displacing traditional media, mainly like newspaper, magazine, TV. But the thing that's taking stuff away from Google is that people are spending time, they're getting their news in social media. They're not even searching. And there was a study out, I think it was Fortune or Forbes, that came out a couple of weeks ago, and it said young adults under 30, they do more searching inside TikTok than they do in Google, which surprised the heck out of me. And then it just shows like I'm out of touch. I'm almost 50. Like I would just like, why would you search inside TikTok? But then there was the whole explanation of why they thought that way and how they trust what their friends are doing. And that's how they discover, you know, where to eat and what things to buy. And they never grew up in our day. Like they always grew up as part of social media. So it was never a weird thing for them. Like for me, I grew up where before there were even cell phones, or when there were cell phones, there were no screens. It was just, you dialed the number. There's none of it. It was the phone was a phone. It wasn't this other thing, this computer that has all the social media on it. So, but people who grew up in social media, they like, that's what they have. Of course, they're going to use social media. They're going to use the yellow pages. What the heck is that?
Right.
So you're right, Tim. The shift is moving towards social media. And because more people are spending time, the average person spends something ridiculous like 80 minutes a day on TikTok, no matter what the age is. And they're spending more time in social media in general. That time is coming away from, there's only so many hours in the day.
Right.
So it's being pulled away from these other channels. So, you know, you can still do yellow pages average, still do TV. You can still be, you know, Shannara or whatever and do all, like Mr. Billboards or Mr. Radio. You can do all that. But it's just, like you said, it's waning in power. It's not dead.
Right.
It's just losing 3 or 4% every year. So we just want to move to these other channels, not because we want to hop on TikTok because it's the hottest trend, but that people clearly are spending more time on YouTube, on Facebook and TikTok.
Right.
That's how they're learning. And by the time it gets to a search result, when someone types in personal injury attorney, West Virginia, there's so much competition from the Morgans and Morgans that's $50 a click. You want to intercept that before it ever gets to becoming a search result. So now there are fewer and fewer search results, which cause people to think, well, there's these young adults, they're not motivated and they're not searching. No, they absolutely are. They're just doing it within social media before it gets to a search result or before like a Google search result. They absolutely are discovering. They absolutely are asking for opinions and seeing what their friends are thinking and making decisions based on who they think is more trustworthy. They don't care where you passed the bar. They don't care how many years you've been in business. They don't care how nice your suit is. They don't care how many articles you have in some law review journal. They care like, oh, this Tim guy, he's kind of cool. He also likes to eat Dunkin' Donuts as well. Like, I'm going to talk to him. Well, the fact that Tim likes to eat Dunkin' Donuts, I'm just making this up, has nothing to do with whether you're actually the best law firm for their situation. That's how people are making decisions. I mean, you call it idiocracy or whatever it is. That's how people make decisions now.
No, that's not idiocracy, because I know of a law firm in St. Louis it's a law firm, and 3 partners have a video series at different restaurants, 3 guys eating sandwiches. And it's more about they're sitting around eating
how
sandwiches.
Unprofessional is that? You're a lawyer. You're supposed to be like in the courtroom and all like formal and,
right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to wear a clown suit and, you know, jump up and down, but there, you know, be more human thing. That's the biggest struggle I've seen. I've coached so many attorneys. It's like Groundhog Day for me, like this repeat. The biggest hurdle I see is getting them to overcome this whole, you know, being professional thing and just making human videos. You know, they're afraid of compliance because there's only certain things they can say and not say and all that. But outside of the compliance, like the bigger firms have this compliance thing going on. But But I'll say you're not a huge firm, so you shouldn't have any of
No.
those sorts of barriers.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
So what would be the next step in terms of how do we get to that next step?
Well, I would recommend that you start with our $1,000 a month content engine package.
Okay.
And that allows us to onboard you. The first phase is we're going to complete digital plumbing, which is all of our tracking. So I'm sure Jason will be very happy to see how we want to audit all the measurement in place, because everything that we do, every piece of content you put out there, we're going to measure what the impact is. And what a lot of social media agencies do, and we're not one, we coach a lot of them, but a lot of social media agencies, they'll say they're measuring themselves on, well, we do like 5 tweets a month and 10 Facebook posts and, X YouTube. So we don't care about necessarily, we're not being measured by like how many posts we're doing. We're measuring what the traffic impact is that leads to cases and leads and how we're doing in the CRM, right? We want to see that traffic flows through. And we find, as we will within the first couple months, that a couple pieces of content seem to resonate. It could be you're at a restaurant and talking about how you'd like to eat the calamari as the appetizer, whatever it might be. It has nothing to do with anything. And we can never guess what it is. You'll make a bunch of videos and one of them will just do better. And we just don't know why. It just does better. Okay. We're going to put money against that. $5 a day, $10 a day. And after 3 or 4 months, we're going to assemble what's called the greatest hits. And the greatest hits are the best ones that you have. And then any content you make, we're going to try to displace any of these greatest hits to try to do better, like a winner stay on, king of the hill kind of thing. Okay. And then that's going to drive our strategy where we want to, and it could be you involve some, younger attorneys in the office, or maybe you have some younger females that have a different point of view, that maybe, it's not the old white man giving legal advice, right? We have people who speak Spanish and other things where we have different people maybe saying the exact same thing that you're saying on, this is what happens when you get in a car accident. But because they are saying it, even the exact same words, but because they're saying it, they vibe with a different group, right? So then we'll start to expand from there. But we can't do that until we have this base of content that's going and the process that's already running. And then we start bringing in other people. So that doesn't take a month or two. That takes like 3 to 6 months to get going.
Right.
But then we have a process going, and now the team knows, what's going on with the brand. We're familiar, and we become your team. We are your team. We're not just some agency.
Right. Yeah. Now, a 1 minute video I would shoot, if I shot one this afternoon, for example, would that be uploaded somewhere and edited or?
So you could post it directly, which is what we recommend. Just go ahead and post it to Facebook and we can retrieve it from there. But some lawyers are they don't want to post raw video. Fine. Then put it in the Google Drive. So we set up a Google Drive for everybody. And in that Google Drive, it could be you, it could be one of the assistants, whoever, they're going to put everything into that Google Drive. And then our team is checking in that Google Drive to see what videos you have. And then our process runs from there.
Okay. Good. Finally, and Jason, you may have questions when I'm done. I assume transitioning to your team would be transitioning from the other SEO people we're using, I assume, right?
A lot of clients, they keep their existing SEO company because they're afraid that if they leave that company, that something bad will happen, or they'll lose some links, or like all their rankings will fall apart. Because whatever we're doing is additive to whatever's already there. But we may determine that they're not adding any value. Well, if they're not adding any value, then remove them. But it's not like some kind of emergency where you have to kick them out and we can't start unless they get kicked out. Like, no, our stuff is additive. It's fine.
Okay.
But
That's good.
I would say, keep them our thing's only $1,000 a month. It's nothing.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We have bid with a couple different SEO companies and this one is a cheaper one, but it's still more than $1,000 a month. And as far as I'm concerned, why spend that money if we don't need to? But I don't know.
I would say look at the results, right? I mean, look at what they're doing. Now, maybe they did a lot of work in the first couple months, but then what have they been doing since then?
Yeah, we've had it for about a year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess because they also, manage and maintain our website.
Okay. Well, then let's just run both at the same time. And that gives us, because I don't want to make any rash moves, right?
Right. Yeah, I
The
don't
last thing
either.
I want is like, okay, well, we're doing this SEO thing, but then they're not going to make some changes to the website that we need, or they're not going to give us access to WordPress to be able to post things, or they're going to get mad about something, or the site goes down, or, for some reason. And right. It's good to run in parallel, because then if anything, they're going to see what we're doing and they're going to say, oh, okay, well, I guess there's a thing or two we can learn from what they're doing. Maybe we got to step up our game a little.
That brings up a good point to Jason's question. So you all are more content focused, not website management focused for any design features or anything like that.
No, there's a zillion companies that build websites and maintain websites. We will make adjustments to the website, small things related to tracking. If you want something like change the text on the homepage or install a WordPress plugin, like we can do that, but we're not website designer, website maintenance people, because even though we do that, that's not, we do it out of necessity, just because some clients, they're like, okay, unless you take over that part, we won't. Okay, fine, we'll take that part over. But that's not our forte. I mean, we're good at it, but it's not, we don't have a distinct competitive advantage in building WordPress websites.
Right. And I guess what it comes, and I'll just share this information. If we're paying $4,000 a month or $4,500 a month, and you guys are doing the content, and again, not to divorce that other one right now, you guys are doing the content, it's working, and after 6 months, we say, hey, what is it that this other group's doing for $4,000 a month? If it's only maintaining a website, I suspect you can refer us to website companies that you respect that can do it for a lot cheaper than that.
Well, it's not that you want to do it for cheaper. You want to grow the business, but obviously you don't want to waste money.
That's what I mean.
We know a lot of agencies, and all they do is website maintenance. But I don't think website maintenance is the issue to solve right now. I mean, it's a lower priority. We'll take care of it. But I think the bigger issue is, let's get the traffic and rankings up, and then let's try to cut cost.
Okay. All right. Let's do that.
Yeah. I mean, we could, you're the client. So if you believe the priority is the $4,000 a month and website hosting, we could make that first. It's up to you.
Yeah, we were paying the one before them $11,000 a month. I guess. Yeah. Let me just, to be clear, I don't go for the cheapest. I go for the best. Yeah. And I'm willing to pay for the best. I'm a big believer that people will pay premium prices for premium quality work. Yeah. They're not going to pay premium prices for average quality work or below. And I just wanted to, what I'm trying to assess is whether it's $4,000 a month, which is in our case, or $6,000 or $2,000, is what are we getting in return? What value are we getting in return for that $4,000 a month? Really? I mean, that's the same question I'd ask. Yeah. So if they're doing website maintenance on this site, I would think it'd be $300 a month. But I don't know. Maybe they're doing something special. A lot of the people that do there's a stacking. Okay. So at the base level, there's maintaining the website, which is making sure it's running and just someone's there watching it, right? To make sure it's not down, to keep the plugins updated, to pay for some basic hosting thing. And you don't have a ton of traffic. So it's not like you need 5 extra large Amazon servers or something, right? So that's very little. Then on top of that is website development. So maybe you're building some custom CRM, some integration with some other kind of application that you have, or something that's beyond just like keeping the lights on. So that's website development. Then a stack on top of that, which most website SEO companies don't do, is the content creation or content management or content editing or kind of like messing with content. And that's where you come in. Yeah. And then the level above that is going to be like social media. All these like social media agencies, they're going to advise you on how to do content. They'll bring someone into your office and interview you and shoot with some nice cameras and whatever. Then the level above that is strategy. That's where you get into coaching and people that will, like a mastermind kind of thing. So I view there's these different layers, and we just want to make sure that we have we're getting the right thing and we're paying the right amount for each. And I don't want to pay for a layer. I have the expectation that I'm paying for a layer that I'm not actually getting. So if I was you, Tim, and I was paying $4,000 a month, I would probably expect that these guys would do all this content and SEO, but maybe I don't want to say hiding, but there's, this SEO thing, we're not exactly clear what's going on. Like, what are you doing? Oh, well, no, you don't have to understand SEO. That's like this complicated thing. You wouldn't understand it. You're a lawyer, right? Right. You just let us do our magic thing behind the curtain. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. But maybe there's a breakout. Maybe when you signed up for the $4,000 a month, they said, this much of it is SEO and this much of it is Voodoo and this much is actually maintaining the website. I'll have to go
Or
back
maybe-
and look. They may have,
Or maybe
broken
they
it
do
out.
training and consulting, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll,
training and consulting. That's what a lot of law firms want us to do. Like this audit, you're paying for training and consulting. We're not actually implementing anything.
Right. Okay. Jason, do you have anything?
Don't think so. I think we've covered it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dennis, this has been very enlightening. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you guys got value. I didn't see any questions from Susan or Jason, so hopefully that was okay.
Yeah, I think Susan had to jump off, but
Okay.
yeah. So
Usually the quiet person who doesn't say anything is the one who understands all the details. And then later,
I've taken a page of notes. So
okay, later, Jason, Tim's gonna ask Jason. So, Jason, what did you think? Did you think that guy was full of shit, or was it legit?
I'm beyond that with regard to you, because I've seen you talk enough and I've watched videos and so forth. I do my homework. I try to anyway.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right about Jason and Susan. They are the ones that are the detail. You know, me, I'm like, oh, things will just fall into place. It'll work itself out. Well, and my wife will be quick to tell me, I'm the one who's working it out.
Yeah.
You're creating the wake and I'm fixing the mess that you've created. So
Yeah.
anyway.
We could probably take over the maintenance thing, but I'd rather you ask them. So what exactly am I getting?
Yeah.
And what are you actually doing? Don't show me these printouts on how many keywords I rank on. Tell me what you're actually doing. And then once we have a chance to look at this for a month or so, if we think we can take it over or pass it off to other people that can do just the maintenance part, then we'll do that.
Yeah.
But I'd like to do it in little pieces at a time. That way that we reduce the risk, right?
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And like website development, I don't want a site that's going to stay the same for, 3 or 4 years. I want one that's constantly updating and measuring where things go on it and the color scheme.
Well, the content's updating, but the site structure doesn't need to. It's not like, the website rusts or something. It needs to be like a new roof. We need to be replaced. It's WordPress. Obviously, WordPress will continue to update, and I'd recommend you stay on WordPress. But it's not like, because some people think like every 3 or 4 years we need to redesign the website. No, you don't. You have something that's working. Keep adding more content, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Unless some people like 50 grand in the budget, I just want to build a new website. Okay, fine.
Yeah. I guess my thought is, I think user engagement is big these days.
The integration of social will be key for that user engagement.
Okay.
Now, it's not the website. It's the content and the way we integrate social.
Okay. Cool.
There's lots of plugins. There's lots of other tools. It doesn't require redoing the website. And I'm sure
Okay.
Jason has his favorite plugins too. I can list mine.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, Dennis, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah. And I'll send you a link for the content engine. You guys ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually really easy. It is, I'll put it here in the chat. It's just blitzmetrics.com/CEC. Everything we have is 3 digits. So if you check on that, our team's going to process that and onboard you into Basecamp, which is what we use for our project management system, if you guys are cool with that. And then you're going to start to get notes from Todd, your account manager, who would have run this meeting, but you got me instead. So hopefully I did a good job.
Yeah. I was impressed. But thank you, Dennis. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate
thank
you.
you.
All right. Have a great day.
See ya.
Talk soon.